Okay, all you have joined. Okay, ma. Yes, I only late. Okay.
Ma'am, I give the host.
Oh, yes. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
ma'am, bye.
Okay, bye, sir. Good morning, students. Are you having any doubt regarding IUPAC? Did you go through IUPAC? Did you have any doubt regarding IUPAC? Naming of the coordination compounds. Any one of you answer. If you have gone through means I have gone through. If you have not gone through means not gone through. If then if you come across the doubt, we will ask you later. Any answer you give me, then how am I to know whether I am audible or not? Hello? Hello? Any one of you answer me. I'm audible or not? Ajay? Ajay Dishan? Gabriel? Am I audible? Lakshya Kannan, Sachin, Ajay Dishan, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. No, I got disconnected to audio, so I just had to reconnect.
Okay. Any doubt in coordination compounds? IUPAC?
Not yet, ma'am, but I have to give it a reading in the textbook. I've not yet given it because my cycle tests are going on this week.
Okay. Okay. If you have a doubt, then we can discuss it.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Okay. Sachin, yes, yes, I am audible. You are answering for my audible. Okay. If you have any doubt in the coordination compounds IUPAC, you can let me know. Otherwise, I will go with VBT theory. In your following your IUPAC, in your book, it is discussed isomerism. The isomerism, whether it's a structural or stereoisomerism, both are deleted portion of your CBSE. So you need not concentrate on that. Exactly at 8 o'clock, I will wind up my class. I have some other class, so please, that's the thing. I am following IUPAC. We don't have the stereoism, that is, we don't have isomerism. Isomerism is a deleted portion of your CBSE. Let me go for next is follows VBT theory. VBT theory, in this VBT theory, we are going to talk about the coordination number of 4, 5, and 6. Actually, 5 also we are not going into detail. We are going to study of 4 and 6 only. VBT theory, we are going to talk about 4, 5. There is no other compounds that is being discussed in your textbook regarding 5. But in your book, it is given 4, 5, 6. But none of the compounds of 5 is being discussed. But mostly of 4 and 6. If the coordination number is 4, the geometry of the molecule is either it may be it's a tetrahedral, either it is a tetrahedral or it may be a square planar, depending upon that we will discuss in detail. Either if it is 4 means it may be a tetrahedral or square planar. If it is 6 means it will be of octahedral shape. This will be the geometry of the molecule. If it is 4, the hybridization may be DsP2 for square planar and sp3 for tetrahedral. Hybridization is DsP2 for square planar, sp3 for tetrahedral. For octahedral, the hybridization is sp3d2 or d2sp3. Either way it goes off. The shape is octahedral. But here if it is sp3, it is tetrahedral. dsp2 means square planar. That is the thing we are going to study in detail of VBT. BBD theory tells you that as a molecular orbital theory, as we are studying in normal compounds, orbitals of single electron overlap to form a bond. That is tells about here where we study BBD theory of normal compounds. In a coordination compounds, we know that the coordination entity only will have a definite structure. Most probably, let us say nickel NiCl4 2 minus. If I take this complex, what shape it has? It depends upon nickel. This is Cl is coming as an anion, silicon. It is coming with its own electron, two electrons. Therefore, nickel has to keep the orbital vacant so that the two electrons being donated to the nickel atom to form the coordinate bond. That is a bond formation. So I have to keep nickel the vacant orbitals. How many vacant orbitals it has to, because it has to form 4 bonds with chlorine. So it has to keep 4 orbitals vacant. How? Then BBD theory does not tell about, that is what, that let us see. Let us find out the electronic configuration. Outer, you are right, electronic configuration I'm not talking about, I'm taking about only the outer electronic configuration. Outer electronic configuration of nickel I'm taking. Nickel is 3D8, 4s2, scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel. Nickel is 3D8, 4s2. Now I want to check it out. What is the oxidation state of nickel in Cl4 minus? It is X minus 4 is equal to minus 2, X is equal to 2. So nickel is in plus 2 state. So outer electronic configuration of Ni2 plus is equal to 3D8 because the 2 electrons are lost. Then outer electronic configuration of Ni2 plus in NiCl4 2 minus. Ni2 plus is this. In the presence of the ligands, what is this electronic configuration? Here it says a 3D8 means how will write 8 electrons are. 3D orbital, how 5 orientations. How will you fill up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Understand? Therefore, how many orbitals I need? 3. So 3D. After 3D, what you will have? 4s. Next, what you will have? 4p. These are vacant for nickel. I write draw here. 4p. These are vacant for nickel. Now, in this, 2 electrons are donated from Cl minus. This is donated from Cl minus. And this orbitals overlap and results in the formation of sp3 hybridization. Therefore, sp3 hybridization is tetrahedral shape. So the molecule takes up the tetrahedral shape. This is the way we identify the shape of the molecule. And since it has unpaired electrons, the molecule is said to be paramagnetic in nature. Here you are finding out the electronic configuration of nickel. What is the oxidation state of nickel? I find it here. For that, I find out the electronic configuration. Outer electronic configuration of Ni2 plus in NiCl4. How the electronic configuration nickel in this complex? Here we have 3D. I have written the 3D. As they are forming a coordinate bond. So I have to keep the orbitals vacant. How many bonds it makes? 4 bonds. So I keep the 4 orbitals vacant. And these 2 electrons are donated by the chloride ion. So these orbitals overlap. Hybridization, you know, mixing of orbitals of different energy to provide new orbitals of equivalent energy is called as hybridization. These 4 orbitals undergo hybridization, results in the formation of sp3 hybridization. And the resulting geometry of the molecule is tetrahedral. The resulting geometry of the molecule is tetrahedral. This is the thing. And since it has unpaired electrons, we call this as a paramagnetic in nature. And magnetic moment you can calculate by the formula mu is equal to root of n into n plus 2 that we have studied. Bohr magnetic. This is called as magnetic moment. Magnetic property means paramagnetic or diamagnetic. Magnetic moments based on the number of unpaired electrons, what is the value? That is called magnetic moment. N is the number of unpaired electrons. Here the number of unpaired electrons is 2. Substitute 2 and check out the value. And you write the unit with Bohr magnetic. This is the case. Shall I pass on? The same thing, if I talk about NiCN4 2 minus. I'm saying taking the same nickel complex, but it is of now the ligand is cyanide. Outer electronic configuration of, this is you have to write, outer electronic configuration of nickel is 3D8 4s2. I'm taking, now it is nickel 2 plus. So 3D8. Now outer electronic configuration of nickel in N9. This is the step set. Cn2 minus, yes. Here nickel is in what oxidation state? As I told, it is minus 2. Sorry, it is plus 2. So only we took plus 2. How it is there? Nickel, how will you write? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You write it like this because this is the way we are taught. Because they are according to Hans rule. But in this particular case, since the ligand is Cn, what VBT theory tells, I'm talking about what VBT theory tells. VBT theory tells that this is the way the electronic configuration are being filled up. 3D, 4s, 4p, 3D, 4s and 4p. These two here, the electrons are filled by, given by cyanide. These are donated by cyanide. And what hybridization? It is D, yes, P2. So it undergoes DsP2 hybridization. And the shape of the molecule is quasi-planar. There are no unpaired electrons. So the molecule, the magnetic property is diamagnetic. These are the information we are getting from VBT theory. Now the question may arise for you, ma'am, why it is being paired up here? Why you are not filling up the same way for chloride? VBT theory did not talk about this. That is the drawback of VBT theory. VBT theory tells you for some molecules this is the way it undergoes. For some molecules this is the way it undergoes. It doesn't talk about why you are pairing in some complexes. Why the electrons are not being paired in some of the complexes. It's not being dealt by VBT theory. That detail we are getting from the information of CFT. Since I'm seeing this drawback, as we have seen, I can compare. In your chemical bonding, you might have studied BSPR theory, balanced electron pair repulsion theory. It based on the postulates of BSPR theory. BSPR theory tells that the shape of the molecule, this is the shape of the molecule. It doesn't give the reason why the shape of the molecule is there. What there is bend shape. What is bend shape? CH4 is tetrahedral shape. Why? That is not being dealt. Why? It says shape of the molecule is this. Hybridization is sp3. This is shape of the molecule. That is being done. But it did not talk about the reason for that. And similarly, a CH4, all the bonds are similar. That is CH4, all the bonds are bond length are equal. But VSPR theory didn't give the information why all the CH4 bonds are, because S is of different energy, P is of different energy. So the bond should be of different, but it doesn't give the information that why it is being equal. That is also one of the reasons for drawback of VSPR. Similarly, here also VBT theory does not give any information regarding why the electrons being paired up, why the electrons are not being paired up. It says that the postulates of VBT theory is that according to the number of bonds, it says that d orbitals are being kept vector and the bonds are being, and the electrons being donated by the ligand is being accepted and forms the bond. That is the thing. For CN, it is being paired. But whatever the prediction given by VBT theory is correct. This is the theory, everything is correct. But why it is being paired, why it is not being paired, that information VBT theory did not give. This information we are getting from CFT theory. CFT, when they studied the CFT, they gave the reactivity series, spectrochemical series. Spectrochemical series is nothing but arrangement of the because increasing order of their field strength. Spectrochemical series is, that is we are getting from the spectrochemical series. Spectrochemical series, because once you know only you can understand. So only I'm taking that concept and trying to tell you. Spectrochemical series is nothing but arrangement of ligands in the increasing order of their field strength. Based on the field strength, the ligands are being arranged. If the field strength is higher, the electrons get paired up. If the field strength is weaker, the electrons will not paired up. So from the field strength, we can classify the ligand as strong and weak. When the ligands are stronger, electrons get paired up. If the ligands are weaker, the electrons will not get paired up. So I can say, as per the complexes given to you, if it is a unidentate ligand, if it is unidentate ligand, cyanide, ammonia, carbon monoxide, they are considered as a stronger ligand. Cyanide, ammonia, carbon monoxide, these are considered as a stronger ligand. Other than these three, any ligand comes from unidentate is considered as a weak ligand, because that is only those complex only it is being dealt. But they are not gone into very detail. Otherwise, we have to go by spectrochemical series only. That detail they have not given you, so you need not worry about that. So stronger ligand means for you cyanide, ammonia, and carbon monoxide as a stronger ligand. All other ligands are weaker ligands. Stronger ligand means you pair up. Weaker ligand means don't pair up. This information DBT3 did not give. To make you to understand, we are getting this information from crystal fill and get an idea we are trying to say. But DBT3 did not tell anything regarding this. It tells this is the arrangement, this is hybridization, unpaired electrons, paramagnetic, paired means diamagnetic. That only it is. So to learn other only way, because question will be asked from DBT3, they give a complex and ask what is the shape of the molecule, draw the structure of the molecule, and talk about the magnetic property of the molecule. That is being often asked. There is no question without being left over there. No question paper is without this question. So you are supposed to learn. But how am I to get the information? Whatever the complex they give. This is you have to remember. Cyanide, ammonia, and carbon monoxide are also stronger ligand. Other ligands are weaker ligand. Since stronger, I paired up. Chloride, halogen is a weaker ligand, so I did not pair. That's the reason. That if you keep this in mind, you can make. If it is a unidentate. Didentate means whatever may be the didentate ligand. Didentate means the didentate, whatever may be the didentate is considered as a stronger ligand. For unidentate only we can differentiate. All the didentate ligands are said to be stronger. You keep that in mind. Now again the question may arise you. If didentate and monodentate are mixed, what I will do? Give importance for didentate. Unidentate is importance is less only. So didentate itself is there, means electron pairing will be there, but they have not given heteroleptic. They are given homoleptic. Heteroleptic and all they will not give, because we have to go into detail that is not being dealt, so you don't worry. Now I'm talking about nickel. Tetracarbonyl nickel. Here, nickel outer electronic configuration of nickel. Nickel is 3D8, 4s2. I told here very clearly, whenever the metal is bonded to carbon monoxide, the oxidation state of nickel is 0. Oxidation state of nickel is 0. So 0, so 0 only, so we don't remove any electrons. But as I told, in the spectrochemical series, in the why that we will study later. In the spectrochemical series, that I told, the way I tell also that you will see the contradiction. I told didentate ligands are stronger. In unidentate only we differentiate between weaker and stronger, I told. But if you see the spectrochemical series, the spectrochemical series have arranged the ligands in the increasing order of the field strength. So the highest field strength is having carbon monoxide. Even your ethylene diamine, ethane 1,2 diamine will come in between. As I told unidentate differentiate only. Didentate, all didentate comes you consider as a stronger, I told. I just told all stronger. I didn't compare anything. Keep that in mind. Don't keep that in mind. You don't misunderstand and tell that contradiction. I didn't tell anything that I didn't compare these two. I told that among the unidentate, carbon monoxide, cyanide, and ammonia are stronger. Any other unidentate ligand comes is considered as a weaker. Suppose if we have a didentate, tridentate, any other polydentate, other than unidentate, it comes considered that as a stronger. If I consider the spectrochemical series that is given in crystal field, you will have carbon monoxide at the end, even though it is a unidentate. But your ethane, EDTA is a polydentate, ethane diamine, oxalate ion or didentate, all will come before that. They are not that much stronger compared to that of carbon monoxide. The strongest ligand, if you talk about this, it is the carbon monoxide. Keep that in mind. Why? That we shall do it later. Now this is 3D. That is how do you write the electronic configuration? Stronger ligand. Outer electronic configuration nickel in NiCO4. Then how am I to write? I get paired up. Paired up is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 4 ligands because 4 bonds. 4 bonds I have to make. So I have need 4 orbitals. It is 3D. Don't write simple the box. Mention what the box is. If we write simple the box, we won't give the mark. Then 4, then 3. This is 4s, 4p. Here, the electrons are get filled up by carbon monoxide. 4 carbon monoxide gives the electron and forms the bond. So the hybridization is sp3 hybridization. What the shape of the molecule? It is the shape of the molecule is tetrahedral shape, and magnetic property is diamagnetic. Got it? It's diamagnetic. Let me go for the next one. So let a bit of tetracarbonyl nickel next step. If I talk about Fe-H2O6 3 plus. Now you can do on your own. Fe-H2O6 here, Fe is in +3 oxidation state. Ion outer electronic configuration. Ion outer electronic configuration of ion is 3d6 4s2. Candidate titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron. Iron is 3d6 4s2. For Fe3 plus, outer electronic configuration of Fe3 plus means you write 3d5. Water is considered as a weaker ligand. So outer configuration of Fe3 plus, mass, the steps and all should be proper. Then only we consider, please, outer electronic configuration of Fe3 plus in this. Then how? This is a weaker ligand. So I will not pair up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what you get? I need 6 orbitals. So this will be 3d. This is 4s. This is 4p. Next is 4d. Then how many I get? I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 left. sp3d2. So this is obtained from water molecule. So what hybridization is this? sp3d2 hybridization. It is obtained from water. This one all obtained from water. So hybridization is sp3d2 hybridization. Shape of the molecule is octahedral shape. Then, since it has 5 electrons, it's said to be highly paramagnetic. It is highly paramagnetic. It is highly paramagnetic. If it is Fe2 plus, it is paramagnetic, but not that much as that of Fe. Why? Because this will become Fe2 plus means what happened? 3d6 will come. 3d6 means what you will put here. You will put the number of unpaired electrons will be only 4. So paramagnetic behavior is lesser. Fe3 plus highly paramagnetic because large number of unpaired electrons. The question is there in your in-text question is there. Fe3H2O3 plus is highly paramagnetic, whereas the other molecule is less paramagnetic. Why? When I say paramagnetic, we know that it is unpaired electrons. Don't say that it is a large number of unpaired. Just by seeing the question, don't account. You have to show this that how the unpaired electrons move. That you have to account it. Keep that in mind. If I say ask the question, Fe3 plus is highly paramagnetic. The paramagnetic is unpaired electrons. Highly paramagnetic, large number of unpaired electrons. The question itself gives me the information, but don't write only that answer. We won't give because the question is not giving the information. But you have to prove that how many unpaired electrons are there. Understand? We have one more thing that is called as we say as low spin complexes and high spin complexes. What is low spin and high spin? If the outer d orbitals are involved, you might be understood. Outer d orbitals are involved. Mostly the electrons will not pad up. Mostly the electrons will not be paired where the outer orbitals are involved. If the outer orbitals are involved, there will be unpaired electrons. So we call this as a high spin complexes. Spin is there, a paramagnetic. If it is a inner d orbitals are involved, mostly these electrons will get paired up. Then only inner d orbitals will go. So we call that as a low spin complexes. Here outer d orbitals involved. So mostly the unpaired electrons will be more. So we call that as high spin complexes. If an inner d orbital is involved, these electrons will be get paired up. So we call that as a low spin complexes. Low spin and high spin we talk about only for sp3d2, not for coordination number 4. Understand? One thing I took it. Now technical complexes. Nickel H2O6 2 plus. Nickel Cn. We got NX minus S is equal to 4 will not work.
Ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, so the low spin complexes are always diamagnetic in nature, ma'am?
No, not always. I cannot say always. I say low spin complexes because of the, but that is a clue I'm giving. It's not always. I have a question for that, but I will come to later. Low spin complexes are always not diamagnetic. Low spin complexes may be paramagnetic too.
But high spin complexes will always be paramagnetic.
Not always paramagnetic.
No, because inner d orbitals are not.
Outer d orbitals, if I talk about outer d orbitals means mostly will be paramagnetic only. Diamagnetic is very rare.
Okay. Yes.
But if I talk about zinc complex will be diamagnetic always.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you don't make a conclusion of it.
Okay.
Low spin complex means inner d orbital. High spin complex means outer d orbital. If you go for outer d orbital, really there will be some unpaired electrons.
Oh, yes,
if I go for inner d orbital, mostly the electrons will be paired. Mostly only, not always.
Okay.
If I talk about this, I will go for this. NiNS3 6. I go for this. These two complexes I'm going for. Check out the hybridization. Check out for the hybridization and check out for the. But I'm seeing this system. I know 6 and 6 is after hybridization. But what is the hybridization? Whether it's D2sp3 or sp3d2, that you have to check it out. But you can. I'm seeing this. I'm seeing this NS3 stronger ligand. What is a weaker ligand? That is also gives me an idea. It should be of what weak left. Electrons should not have paired. So it will be of, we will expect that not padded. So it should be of sp3d2. And this will be of d2sp3. Just to tell that. But actually, both of them are sp3d2. Why? Now check it out. Outer electronic configuration of nickel is 3d8 4s2. For nickel, here also +2, here also +2, because both are neutral ligands. Both are nickel 2 plus is 3d8. 3d8 how will you write? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Understand? Now I have to keep the ligands, weaker ligands, you don't have a problem. Weaker ligands, you don't have a problem. Because the electrons don't get paired up. So you will give 3d, 4s, 4p, 4d. So here this 2 electrons, 2 electrons, 2 electrons. This is obtained from water. So it undergoes sp3d2 paramagnetic. We think that ammonia is a stronger ligand. Electrons get paired up. When electrons get paired up, most probably it will be diamagnetic. But here, if it is, this is for this complex. But if I go for Ni ammonia is a stronger ligand. The electrons get paired up. If the electrons get paired up, what is the condition? If this electrons get paired up, what I am getting? I am getting only one d orbital is left over. Only one d orbital is left over. Actually, octahedral means either it should be sp3d2 or d2sp3. This is the only possibility. With one d orbital, it cannot go for. So no pairing takes place, whether it's a stronger or weaker. These are the drawbacks of BBT theory. This is the information I am giving you to do it in a better way. But BBT theory tells you that this is sp3d2, this is also sp3d2. Why? That is the information we are not getting from BBT theory. That is a drawback. This information I am getting, why that you will get clarified from CFT. That you will get clarified water, electron pieces that we have seen the splitting. The splitting, CFT, splitting energy is lesser for water and ammonia is higher. So it cannot go further, so it goes for pairing. If the crystal, if the energy field strength, this field is lesser, Then what happened? After filling, the electron goes over here. That is the reason. This information we are getting from CFT theory. This information, why it is not being explained by EBT3. That is the drawback of EBT3. Understand? I am giving you the information to make it very clear. Why? Why it is not undergoing pairing? BBT theory did not tell. I am giving the information to make it do it better. So this is the question often asked. This nickel complex, so you can take that. Octahedral nickel complex are always sp3d2. Whatever may be the ligand, it is being ordered. If it is a coordination number 4, that problem that is we have seen nickel coordination number 4, NiCl4, NiCO 4 times and NiCN4 2 minus. We have seen all the weaker and stronger of coordination number 4 of nickel I told. We don't come across such a problem with 4 coordination number, but you have a problem with nickel of coordination number 6. When nickel complex of coordination number 6, whatever may be the type of ligand, always it will be of sp3d2, and always it is paramagnetic in nature. So whether it is low spin or high, if both of them are high spin complexes only. Outer spin, both of them are outer spin complexes. So you may not make a conclusion like that. There are few odd man also there. There is a weaker ligand. We think the weaker ligand means outer D complex, stronger ligand, inner D complexes. No. Both are found to be outer spin complexes. It's because of this. Clear? So you write it as nickel, octahedral complex of nickel are always outer spin, high spin complexes. Outer D orbitals are involved, that is sp3d2 only. Similarly, when I take chromium, see chromium, CrH2O 6 3 phase, CN6 3 minus. In both the cases, Cr is in +3 oxidation state. One is a weaker ligand, another is a stronger ligand. Now chromium 3d5 4s1 for chromium. Outer electronic on that, and then you are right. Just like that, if you write, I myself, if the paper comes, I was doing. Right now we are not doing, but actually when it comes, I won't give the mark. Complete information should be there. Complete, just like that, don't write. Outer electronic configuration of chromium. Here chromium is in +3. So outer electronic configuration of Cr3 plus means you will get 3d3. 3d3. Then outer electronic configuration of Cr3 plus in this complex. Then put the box. Then D left. Upper D means how many orientations? 5 orientations. How will you fill up? 1, 2, 3. Then 4s, 4p. So how many I need? Then it is undergoes D2, sp3. D2, sp3 undergoes. So it is an octahedral paramagnetic. It has 3 alpha electrons. It is paramagnetic. But if you take, it is stronger ligand. Here is a stronger ligand. We expect that electrons has to be paired up. If I get paired up, I'm getting B3. If it is an octahedral, either it should be of sp3d2 or d2 sp3. But here it is not possible. So whether it's a stronger ligand or a weaker ligand, so you write the statement. Octahedral complex of chromium. Octahedral complex of chromium. Chromium mostly shows octahedral complex only. Octahedral complex of chromium are mostly of sp3d2. Sorry. Octahedral complex of chromium are always d2 sp3 hybridization. Whether it is bonded to a stronger ligand or a weaker ligand. These are the 2 exceptions you have to keep in mind. Chromium and nickel. Often there is a in-test question is also there in your nickel. Even though nickel, if it's bonded to a stronger ligand, the complexes will be, whatever may be the ligands is bonded, always will be of sp3d2. Chromium in octahedral complex, whether it's bonded to a weaker or a stronger, always it will be d2 sp3. Always it will be d2, always it contains 3 alpha electrons. Always it is paramagnetic. So you don't make a statement that low spin complexes means paramagnetic, high spin complexes means paramagnetic. Don't make. There are few exceptions. So mostly if it is of low spin complexes, mostly it will be of less magnetic behavior because it may have 1 unpaired or less number or paired up or maybe one unpaired electrons, very less number of unpaired electrons. If it is outer spin complexes, the number of unpaired electrons will be higher. That only we can make a statement, but we cannot make a conclusion of that. Clear? Is there any doubt regarding VBT theory? Any doubt regarding VBT theory? No, nobody is opening your mouth. Is the chapter covered in your school?
No, ma'am.
Since you know very thoroughly, you are not answering. How am I to take it? I have taken everything, I think so, yes. One more thing, cobalt complex I can do, that one of the that is later. Cobalt complexes. CO, pardon, ma'am?
Ma'am, so with any ligand, if it is bonded with chromium, it shows paramagnetic, and it is always 3 unpaired electrons.
Yeah. If it's of octahedral complexes.
Okay.
Mostly chromium, I have seen only octahedral complex. Tetrahedral complex, I didn't see that. Mostly it will be of octahedral complexes. But I am specifically telling for octahedral.
Okay.
If I take cobalt, stronger ligand, cobalt, because cobalt means I will write scandium, platinum, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt. Upper 3d7, 4s2. And 3 means it will become 3d6. 3d7, 4s2, 3d7, 4s2, 3 electrons, so 3d6 is the cobalt outer electronic configuration CO3+. Then outer electronic configuration CO3+ in this complex is a soluble, right? If it's a again, you know that's a stronger ligand. Stronger ligand means what you will do, you get panda. So electronic configuration, this and that, in this complex and you won't face a problem. So it is 3D, it is 4s, it is 4p. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then 800 plus what hybridization? D2sp3. Here it is diagonal. Inner d orbitals are involved, so it is called as a low spin complexes. Low spin complexes means it need not be always, it should be a diametric. Low spin means number of unpaired electrons is very less. And inner d orbital is being involved. Since inner d orbital is involved, there will be pairing is possible. So we say that parametric behavior will be lesser. So only we call that as a low spin complex. But it's not always. Example, exception is chromium. Understand or not? That's you have to keep in mind. Then whatever regarding VBT theory I told, just one question is there that I will discuss. It's an in-test question. If you have your textbook, you can write down.
Ma'am, is it D2sp3, ma'am?
Yes, ma. DTSP3, yes, ma. What is sulfur? That is not the. Yes, there is a question in your in-text question, page number 254. That is 9.8 is given. 9.8 they are given. Explain cobalt. This complex they are given. They are given this complex. Cobalt is an inner d orbital complex. I have shown it is an inner d orbital complex. And show Ni, the same thing they have given. Ni NS3 2 plus is an outer d orbital complex. Here 3D nickel means 3d8 4s2. 3d8 4s2. Therefore, I will think that this electron will be paired. No, this is. So it will go for outer d orbital complex. So they are comparing like this way. Cobalt 3 N3 is an inner d orbital complex, whereas nickel, this is the outer d complexes. Why? That is the reason. And chromium complexes are always D2sp3 hybridization. That you have to keep in mind. These are the 3 things odd. One more thing, I'll give a word. This is also one of the things. Copper. This is entirely different. VBT3 nowhere tells you that. If you take Cu, NS3, 6, 2 plus. Check it out. This is not in your textbook, but this is the specialty. It is to talk about. Copper it is 3D 10 4s1 outer electronic configuration. It's the copper is 3. So it is a 3D9. Understand? Sorry, it's a tetra complex. Sorry, tetra complex. Then how will you write 3D9? So you will think that it is stronger ligand. Stronger ligand electrons get paired up. Paired and you will write. You will think that it is 3D 4s 4p. These are there, but you will think that it is sp3. Understand? As we have taught, but actually it is not sp3. It is dsp2. It is of tetrahedral. It is a square plane of complexes. But you can account for it. It just uncolored electrons in the d orbital, which gets to dd transition. So the complex is colored. Yes, it's a dark blue coloration. Complex is very dark blue in color. Yes, we can account it paramagnetic. Yes, it's paramagnetic. But the shape of the molecule is square planar. How? Actually, this is an entirely exceptional one. This electron gets shifted over here, and it undergoes dsp2 configuration, dsp2 hybridization, and this electron gets shifted towards here. Shifted towards here, and it undergoes dsp2 hybridization, and the shape of the molecule is planar. This explanation is not being given by why the electron is being shifted. Is not being given by this one, DBT theory. This you are getting clarified from CFT theory. This is not in your textbook, but it is being often asked in other competitive examinations. It's the day. It's a tetrahedral complex. We expect so strong ligand electrons get paired up. It is sp3. It is not sp3. It is dsp2. It's a square planar. Why? The electrons get shifted here. DBT solution. Again you have a question. Why this electron is being shifted? Where the energy comes from? But the energy difference between these two is very, very less. Hybridization for the internal energy is enough to bring on. Why for certain it is shifting or not all? Why? That is not being explained by BBT. That is the main drawback of BBT. BBT did not distinguish the ligands as stronger and weaker. Why for certain ligands it is getting paired? Why it's not paired? That explanation is not being BBT. And it doesn't talk about the stability of the complex too. Stability of the complex is not being taught. It tells you the shape and paramagnetically it tells. It doesn't talk about the stability of the complex. These things are being overcome by CFT theory. In CFT theory, just we had an introduction of CFT theory in the earlier classes that I have taught you. In octahedral complex, you consider the ligand as a point charges. And when the metal ion and the ligands are very far apart, it doesn't have attraction or it doesn't have a repulsion. So they are constant. But when they come approach each other, repulsion also plays a vital role, attraction also plays a vital role. But when they come to a certain point, attraction becomes more compared to that of repulsion. But here you have to keep in mind, it's a 3-dimension. The ligands are approaching the metal atom. If it's an octahedral complex, the ligands are oriented in such a way that they approach the ligands they approach the metal atoms along the axial position. Axial position means we have to consider the metal atom. It is of d orbitals. D orbitals, you know, it has 5 orientations. Among the 5 orientations, you know that the 3 orientations are the orbitals in the 3 orientations are in between the axis and 2 are along the axis. Your ligands are coming along the axis. Before the ligands approach the metal atom, all the orientations are in the same energy level. They are in the degenerate energy level. When the ligands approach the metal atom, attraction and repulsion plays a vital role. So the energy of the orbital is slightly increased. When they approach very closer, overlapping takes place. Overlapping, the splitting takes place. How the splitting happens? If it is an octahedral complex, the ligands are approaching the metal atom along the axis. You know the 5 orbitals, dx square minus y square, d is the square are along the axis. dxy, dxz, dyz are in between the axis. So these orbitals experience less repulsion compared to these 2 orbitals. So less repulsion, so less energy. more repulsion, more energy. So what happened? Therefore, this gets this we call this two orbitals lower energy. The other two orbitals get increase in energy. The lower one we call as T2G. This we call as EG. The three orbitals which get decrease in energy is called as T2G. The one which is increased in energy we call as EG energy. This energy difference between these two d orbitals we call as del naught. It's nothing but octahedral splitting energy. Octahedral splitting energy. This octahedral splitting energy determines whether the ligand is stronger or weaker. If the del naught is strong, higher, del naught is the crystal field splitting field strength. Del naught field strength is del naught is higher. If the del naught is higher, then the electron, after filling, that electron cannot go over there. So it goes for pairing. If it is del naught is weaker, then what happens? The electrons goes to the higher orbital. How? When I talk about the filling of the electrons in the orbitals, we have to follow Hund's rule. Hund's rule means what? Pairing is not possible unless all the given orbital of a given subshell contain one electron. You have to fill up one electron, then only you can go for pairing. Now, when you come to the fourth electron, whether to go over here or to go over here is the question. There comes another terminology. It's called as pairing energy. Pairing energy, when electron has to be paired up, you have to apply some energy because electrons have some repulsion. Some energy has to be given to make them to pair. So, if del naught and pairing energy, you have to compare. If del naught is greater than pairing energy, del naught is very higher compared to that of pairing energy. This energy is very, very higher. It can, so what it goes? Pairing energy, to get paired up, I have to apply only some energy to overcome the repulsion. So pairing energy is lesser compared to that of del naught. So what they do? They go for pairing. If del naught is lesser than pairing, I have to provide more energy for pairing means, then what happens? It doesn't go for pair, it goes up. So these two factors only determines whether the electron has to be paired up or not. Think of, if it is a halide ion del naught is lesser. So what happens? Energy difference become lesser. So what they do? Once they filled up, they go here. After filling up only, if it is a halide ion, this del naught will be lesser. Then it fills up this 3 electrons, then 4 and 5. Then only 6 only comes over here. 6 electron only comes over here. If it is a cyanide ion, del naught is very, very higher than pairing. So what happens? Then it goes for pairing. 4th electron comes over here. So whether the electrons is going for pairing or not is determined by this is the del naught and pairing energy. If del naught, mostly they will ask for D4. How do you fill up the D4? How do you fill up the D4 as per CFT theory? How will you fill up D4 configuration? If you have to write, if del naught is greater than pairing energy, del naught is greater. So my electronic configuration will be D4. I will write T2G4, I will write. If del naught is lesser than I will do, I will write T2G3 EG1. This is the electronic configuration because if it is del naught is lesser, what I will do? 1, 2, 3, 4 I will write. So my electronic configuration will be T2G EG1. If del naught is greater, then I will not go for pairing. Then I will fill up the electrons 1, 2, 3. This is the 4. My electronic configuration becomes T2G4. So this is the factor which determines whether the electron has to pair or not in the based on octahedral. I will take the tetrahedron in the next class. Any doubts so far? We will continue the CFT theory in detail in your next class. So far, any doubt in DBT theory? Any doubt regarding DBT theory? No. A tetrahedral complex of copper is not asked. I only gave you because to get the information, to give you the information that VBT theory has the drawback. These drawbacks of VBT theory is being overcome by CFT theory. CFT theory also tells you, I have talked about CFT theory of octahedral complex only. Octahedral complex, we have to, that the electron is pairing or not. the crystal field did not consider as a stronger and weaker bond. It considers a pairing based on the Gell-Nord state, that is field state. Then splitting energy. If the splitting energy is higher than the pairing energy, then the electrons go for pairing. If the splitting energy is lesser, then the electrons go for unpairing. They go fill up, then come for pairing. So only we see that the difference in the electronic configuration when we see that the hybridization is different with respect to the ligands. But that information is not being given by PBT table. I have talked about only octahedral complex. I have not talked about tetrahedral complex. That we shall do it in the next class. Mostly, I will be taking only 2 to 3 classes. By that, coordination compost will be over. Your chemical kinetics is over or not? Children, any one of you answer your chemical kinetics is over or not?
Yes, ma'am.
So with these 2 classes, your chemistry portions will be over. What to be done next week, we shall discuss. I will discuss with Radha sir, then we can come to a conclusion. In your school, is the portions over?
No, ma'am. They're doing only physical.
They have done only physical.
Not fully. They didn't start inorganic. They are doing physical only.
They are doing physical, but organic is also left over.
Yes, ma'am.
Lots of portions left over in your school.
Yes, ma'am. Full volume 2 is left. Only haloalkanes completed.
Okay. So let us see how to go with the test. I think that we can right now, after we complete the portions, we can go with the test, how to go with the system, check with the Radha sir, or how to go for, at least we can have a revision of, for once in a 15 days, shall we have the revision and anything we should discuss with the Radha sir and then we will get back to it. Most probably within 2 class, I will complete the coordination combos. By that, your portion gets over. Now we have to concentrate on testing. You know that your testing pattern is 35 plus 35. 35 is for subjective and 35 is for your objective. Objective, that is scoring is also increased. Sometimes if you don't concentrate, scoring also pulls you down. So you have to be very careful. But both subjective and objective you take in the same time 3 hours. So timing is taking less time and number of questions are more. So you have to concentrate much on that. Keep that in mind. So let us have, I will have a discussion with Raghav sir and get back to it. But in 2 classes, by next week, I will complete this portion. Okay, take care. I am winding up the class now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.